When the NBA was first created, there were players that were the founding fathers of this league that to this day are still immortalized within the history of the NBA. Bill Russell, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain. They were the best during that era, especially during the 60s, and they were by far the most dominant. But Bill Russell revolutionized what winning could be with the Celtics and helped build what the NBA is today. The 60s was a great starting point on what the league could be. However, during the 1970s, there were plenty of great players, with the best being Kareem Abdul-Jabaar, who was the clear best player in the league. But this was an era that was the darkest time for the NBA. There was no face that made the league watchable, which is what the NBA was sorely lacking, with the viewership being down due to tape delays and players struggling with drugs and brawls happening within games that just made the league unwatchable, and there was a lot of money being lost. And in 1979, there was a desperate need for a change, and there was a need for someone to save the NBA and become the real face of the NBA. Luckily enough, the NBA would be blessed with two of those guys.
Such a great defensive player. The Magic.
Bird, little fake down the lane.
Bird by Kareem, a 3-on-1 break. Magic to Green underneath. Underneath, score, foul.
Gets the Bird. 1 second on the clock. It's a 3-point.
Both of them entered the NBA as rookies and immediately changed the landscape of the league for years to come. Beforehand, the league did not have the star power it needed to help viewership go up, but luckily these two players already had history back in college, as Indiana and Michigan played in the NCAA tournament, with Magic winning the title over Bird. There was already a brooding rivalry between these two stars, and that is what the NBA needed. And immediately right out the gate, Magic Johnson in his rookie year with the LA Lakers were instantly winning and won the first championship of the decade. And Magic had a legendary performance in Game 6 that catapulted him into stardom. And then Larry Bird followed that up with a championship of his own the year right after, making the Celtics once again a relevant franchise. So it was only a matter of time before the Celtics and Lakers would play each other in the finals, and the Bird and Magic rivalry would not disappoint at all.
Rambit. Watch it. Cooper and the Celtics, and now the bench is in. Bird. Jaw to jaw. The Boston Celtics are the NBA World Champions. Magic with a hook shot, scores with 2 for him. He can't do a thing. Bird, turnaround, hit. With 16 seconds to go, LA comes to Boston and wins the world title. They have reached the finals in 5 of those 6 years.
The competition between Larry and Magic brought excitement and fun to the league that was never seen before. And during this time, many fans tuned in to see both the Lakers and Celtics play, as it was made to be an event every single time. This time period during the NBA is heavily regarded as the golden age of basketball, with multiple factors playing in, as we had the entertaining Lakers and Celtics rivalry, we had the Detroit Pistons becoming the bad boys of the league, and we also had a 6'6" shooting guard from Chicago who looked to be just as marketable as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and made people believe a man could fly. But without a doubt, the two guys that saved the league were for sure these two. They both go hand in hand, as they were able to save the sport together and bring entertainment into the NBA. The differences between both Magic and Larry are like yin and yang. Magic was the flashier player with his passing and playmaking skills, and while he was not the greatest scorer, he elevated others around him, which made the Lakers a household name during this time period, with them being dubbed as the Showtime Lakers. Magic was able to show that he could be a winner, and him being able to make it to the finals for so many years. Whereas his counterpart Larry was the hard worker that was on a mission to destroy anyone on the court, and made the Celtics a tough team to mess with during their dynasty. And Bird was one of the best players that did a lot besides scoring. Even though he did not make as many finals as Magic Johnson, he also proved that he can be a clutch player when the lights shine the brightest. We owe a lot to Magic and Larry for doing what they did during the 1980s, and they were both legends in their respective careers, and when their time in the spotlight came to an end, there had to be someone to fill their shoes and make sure the league was in good hands. And luckily for them, during that time, that very same guy from Chicago was ready to take the throne as the next face of the NBA, and his name was...
Spectacular night for the Bulls, as Jordan has come up with another
Neat, Jordan on the way, score!
MJ, he did it!
With the recovery, and Jordan is fouled. Jordan with 2 seconds to go, puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago.
When he first got drafted in 1984, a lot of people were wondering what he could do, as many did not believe a shooting guard could lead a team to a dynasty. But during the 80s, many saw him as the next big thing. Right out the gate, he was signed to Nike, which gave him more mass appeal to the fans. The way he played and his athleticism made people think that he was walking on air, which dubbed him the name Air Jordan. But as great as he was individually, the Chicago Bulls, on the other hand, were not the greatest team, and in a league where you had Magic and Larry dominating all the time, he was not able to be in the conversation with those guys as far as winning. The East at this time was at an all-time high, and Jordan had a lot to prove in order to be brought up in this conversation. And he would fail time and time again, but he kept pushing, and it finally happened as the Bulls would get it done and beat the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals in 1991. And in the finals, their opponent, ironically, were the Los Angeles Lakers, which would see the torch being passed from Magic to Jordan, and the league was now in the hands of MJ.
He said, I'm gonna show you. Nobody will ever work as hard as I will.
I used to ask him, what's it like to guard Mike? Mike? You mean Black Jesus?
Out on the court, and I looked at him, and for the first time in my life, a human being didn't look real to me.
Michael Jordan's the only player that could ever turn it on and off, and he never freaking turned it off.
Here's Jordan. A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Jordan for three. Here's Jordan for three. Yes! Did you see that look? Michael indicating he can't believe it. 11 points, seldom used during the season. Jordan, yes! And a count between the shot clock and the game clock. Jordan, yes! And a count! The Chicago Bulls have won 3 straight NBA championships.
Jordan would instantly become the best player in the league and the most well-known guy in the organization. The man was the most marketable guy for the league. He had all the shoe deals, the commercials, the endorsements. Everyone wanted to be like Mike. During the 90s, however, there were players that were great and they were superstars and able to find success, but none of them were close to being the face of the league. Even with Jordan retiring for those 2 years, and as great as Hakeem Olajuwon was during his dominance with the Rockets, he unfortunately was no MJ. He was just not as marketable as his predecessor, and the league definitely was lacking his presence, as there needed to be someone to take his place. But luckily for everyone, Jordan would return, and he would take the league over once again like he never left. Dominated with the Bulls for 3 straight years, and would perfectly end his tenure in the most perfect way possible.
They swat at it and steal it. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
As for Michael Jordan, all the superlatives have been exhausted and almost all apply. But perhaps the most important one is this: he's authentic. His essence is so much deeper than image. In fact, the image is, in his case, an amplification of something true and substantive. Take all the money, all the adulation, all the TV cameras away, and put Michael Jordan in a gym somewhere with Russell and Oscar, West and the Doctor, and he'd be as genuine and as much in his element as any of them. His heart and his athletic integrity every bit as impressive as his artistry. So whenever it ends, it's been an incredible ride for Jordan and the Bulls, and we at NBC have been privileged to be taken along for that ride.
With Jordan seemingly retiring in 1998, he left behind a legendary career that made people want to follow in his footsteps. And there was a kid from Philadelphia that was the greatest student that MJ ever had. It did everything that he did, but with his own style.
Bryant to the basket, inside! Lose that one. Bryant, yes! Serving up a facial! Bryant. Oh!
Serving trying to get him.
Bring back. Oh! Kobe Bryant! Woo-hoo-hoo! He carved for human life!
When he first got drafted, he was not immediately the greatest. He was not even the best player on his team, as Shaquille O'Neal was the best player for the Lakers. But what made people tune in was how similar he was to Michael Jordan, and how much alike the two were. It was almost like they were cut from the same cloth.
The first time I was getting ready to face Jordan, I had a teammate, he goes to me and said, "Hey, you want some advice? Whatever you do, don't look him in the eye." why the hell would I not look him in the eye? I'm that too. Can't look me in the eye either, buddy.
But unlike others in his draft class, he had a slower start than others, and he was someone that had a lot of learning curves. And with that, he did experience failure. But with him finally coming into his own in the 2000s with Shaq, they would go on to win 3 championships in a row and showcase their dominance in each series. While Shaq was the one that won the Finals MVPs, people very much recognized that Kobe was a problem, and Shaq saw that he was great enough to be the best player in the NBA. But Kobe, unlike his predecessors, all had the undisputed title of being the best on their team. And it became a lot worse as the Lakers would lose in 2004, and Kobe was at fault as the Lakers were unable to win with Kobe shooting them out of the game. And to make matters worse, many would accuse Kobe of driving Shaquille O'Neal out of LA as Kobe wanted to be the man of his own team. And with that, his back was against the wall. Kobe's time as being the alpha of the team, he was viewed as the most hated player in the NBA, and many had a lot of things to say about Kobe.
I hear everything that the crowd is saying. I hear it. So it's like this place where it was my refuge is now being bombarded with all kinds of things that they would say.
But during the prime of his career, while he would get all this noise and all this pressure and all this frustration thrown at him, Kobe would still be able to become the best player in the NBA and destroy everyone that was in his path.
I mean, it was just I'm destroying everybody that step on the court.
Off to Kobe Bryant. No seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang! Bryant for 3. Puts it in. Kobe Bryant from downtown.
Shot clock at 2. He's got to put it up. Tries to bank it. Does so. And a foul.
Stolen by Bryant. Bad pass. Puts up the 3. Bang!
It's official. The Lakers are NBA champions once again.
Back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers, the 2010 NBA champions.
Kobe was someone who did experience a lot of hardships and failures, but he was able to prove to everyone that he was someone that can be a leader and take his team to the top. What made him so special in the face of the NBA during the 2000s was the fact that he was the most famous and infamous player. During this era, he was hated so much that it made people want to watch him even more and see him fail. It was either you liked him or hated him. There was no in-between at all. While he was not like Michael Jordan as far as endorsements and marketability, Kobe made up for that with his mentality, his clutch ability, and taking the hearts out of everyone that was in front of him. His signature Mamba mentality inspired many to be a hard worker and improve in all aspects of the game. We have seen the impact that Kobe has had on the NBA, with certain players being able to feel inspired by Kobe Bryant's ethics. There were by far a lot of great players during this time, and many have great cases as why they should have been the face of the league instead of Kobe. Tim Duncan was winning a lot during the 2000s as well as Kobe was. Allen Iverson had the world in the chokehold with his persona and style, and Dwayne Wade was looked at as the next superstar of the NBA. But everyone loved to watch Kobe and his style of basketball, and he had this edge to him that not a lot of people had during that time. But there was one person that really challenged him. It was this guy that came from Akron, Ohio, and instantly became a superstar, and some were saying he was even better than Kobe at the time.
Pierce again, a Smith screen, Posey will defend. Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Breakaway for the Cavs. Gets it to LeBron!
James, shot!
The open shot. And taking to the left.
This was a kid that was given an immense amount of hype that may have been the most anyone has ever been given. A high schooler was being looked at as the chosen one, the one that would save the city of Cleveland and become the best ever. And with that, we saw LeBron do some inhuman things that no one has ever done before that made people genuinely believe that he was going to do it. There was something about the way that he played that made him look like he could do it all by himself. He would take his team to the playoffs consistently, and despite the help that he had, he would wield his team to the NBA Finals in his 4th year, but he unfortunately would fall short of reaching a title. And after that point, he was being met with teams that were too much and he could not seem to find an answer, as others were winning championships and he was simply losing consistently. Then LeBron would eventually find an answer, and the answer would change his image and change the landscape of the NBA for years to come.
It's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat. And we've supported him for 7 years now. And for him to go on there and drag us through the mud for 7 years and stab us in the heart, he deserves everything he gets. I hope he never wins anything in Miami. He has a tattoo of loyalty on his body.
This is the worst thing that could ever happen to Cleveland since Modell taking the Browns away. Bottom line.
I'm a big LeBron fan, and this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me.
And I thought for once in my life, with how much I love Cleveland sports, it would love me back. And that has not happened today.
He instantly went from being the hero to the villain, and everyone hated him and wanted to see him fail, which made everyone tune in even more. With the height of social media, this was 1,000 times amplified than what Kobe had to deal with, as we have never seen a player be scrutinized this heavy. Him joining to form a super team rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and he would seemingly take on the villain role quite nicely and wore it with pride. And when the time finally came for LeBron to win his first championship with everyone watching, many thought he was going to win with ease. But to everyone's shock, he failed.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. The first title in franchise history.
How much blame, though, goes on LeBron?
I give LeBron James 99% of the blame, because this time he wasn't even LeRobin James. He was Alfred James. This was just pathetic.
There's something about LeBron James that's really starting to alarm me. It's like he wants to be crowned with no rings. You don't get to do that.
It's been saying
you gotta get it done. But to lose in the finals the way that he did, I don't understand it. Champions don't do that.
He failed to deliver a championship, and he did so in a disappointing way, and everyone relished in seeing this man fail. But with failure comes wisdom and more experience, as this was a learning curve for what was yet to come, and he would soon get his revenge on the rest of the NBA and show once and for all that he was indeed the one.
And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Transition. Wade finds James. Spread the heat. Oh, what a block from James.
Here's
James on the drive.
That's a three. Make somebody else beat you.
Three on the way. He got it.
LeBron James picks Cleveland. James' Instagram post, I'm coming home.
James on the drive.
Yes.
To LeBron James. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Cleveland! This is for you!
James drives, gets inside, running layup. It's good and a foul. LeBron James ties the game.
LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone! The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
Everybody that's ever been a part of this run with me the last 20 years, 20 plus years, I just want to say I thank you so much, because I wouldn't be me without y'all. All y'all help, all y'all passion, all y'all sacrifices helped me get to this point. Fuck, man. Thank you guys.
LeBron James' rise to becoming a superstar is still one of the greatest success stories ever. What made him stand out of all the players that were the star of the league at one point in time is the relatability. Many can relate to being in a tough situation and striving to become something great and be looked at as someone special. The marketing behind him is on the same tier as Michael Jordan. He has dominated the NBA for 20 plus years and has become an icon that rivals some of the biggest names of this century. Something like this has never been done before, and I do not think we will ever see something like this again. But like many always say, Father Time is undefeated, and LeBron will eventually exit the league and leave behind his spot as the face of the NBA. And with him exiting, who is going to be the new face of the NBA? We have a bunch of talent in the NBA, to the point that it is very hard to make a consensus pick on who will be the guy that will represent this league for the next couple of years, maybe even longer. With the players that we have grown up watching getting older and slowly being pushed out, we have seen younger talent start to take over the NBA and reach superstardom. Ja Morant is someone that has the marketability with his high-flying highlights and him being one of the most entertaining players in the NBA. But unfortunately, due to outside reasons, there are certain things that hold him back from being looked at as the face of the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic are looked at as the best players in the NBA and have global impact that brings many from around the world to watch. They are both winners and have the credentials, but time is not on their side as they are getting older. Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum are also candidates for that title as they are still in the prime of their careers. But while Tatum has the talent and the star power, not a lot of people will see him as someone that can carry the league on their shoulders. Ant and Luka are both very profitable and have a lot of potential to be all-time greats, but they are both still lacking that factor that LeBron and Michael Jordan possessed. However, Anthony Edwards is looked at as someone that could be the closest thing to Michael Jordan as far as his personality, and he definitely has the potential to possibly be the face of the NBA. But the only player that is both young and has the potential to check all three of these boxes is none other than
Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
This is the guy that has the most potential to become the new face of the NBA, as this is a player that no one has ever seen before. Before he entered the league, he was drawing in attention from all over the world to the point where his games were being nationally televised. Being viewed as the best prospect of all time is a great honor, and for him to have that title is already a sign of what's to come. His basketball talent is very obvious, but he also has the potential to be in the same breath as LeBron as far as hype. The people have clearly anointed him as the next superstar. He has the star power, he has the entertainment value, but I think the one thing that will separate him from the rest is that with the way that this is going, he has the opportunity to change the NBA for the next 10 years with this simple factor. Players from all over the world have slowly been rising and becoming mainstream superstars, and we have already had a few that are in the top 10 in the NBA. Similarly to Jordan's global impact, we could see more players like Wembanyama come into the league and take over the sport completely. We have seen what he can do recently in the Olympics, and he just finished his rookie season in the most dominant way possible. Quite possibly the greatest rookie season a player has ever had. With the way this is going, this could be the perfect first chapter to a long and legendary career for the NBA's next superstar.